Here we are.
This is so much easier than oh, hold on, I'm like out of frame most of the time. This is so much easier than our old setup, where like I have to like, normally I would have to kind of go into this like whole thing where it's just like, all right, type this, type that, type this, type that, and then you kind of have to, oh no, what happened to me?
I don't know. You're gone.
Ah,
It's just me out here.
hold on. Let's fix that. I think I'm coming back.
There you are. You're back.
I love how I just sang the thing's praises and then it like immediately just like went against me. That's okay. How are you? How's it going?
I'm good. Yeah, it's going well. How about yourself?
As keeping on as good as we can, I guess.
I haven't seen you since was it Ben's birthday? Zoom?
Yeah, which at this point I feel like was,
I don't know, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Like that was like, I feel like that was like, when was the last time? That was on Zoom, right? When was the last time you were in person?
I think it was at First Avenue before a show you were working at. I want to say it was like the Mannequin Pussy show, but I don't know.
Oh, that would make sense.
Did you do that one?
I think
or was
I was
it
working
like Soldier 4? I don't know.
No, that would track because I do remember working. I do remember working the Mannequin Pussy show.
Okay, then that would.
And that is like it gets to the. Sorry, I'm just updating tracks as we speak. And that would track just because I don't know. Is it bad that it's getting to the point where I have Dunbar's number for people, where like you have that thing where it's just like you're running out of the random access memory in your brain to remember everyone's names, and I feel like such a jerk. I feel like such a bad person when I do that. But it's you honestly will have to like give me a keyword where it's just like, you don't remember me, do you? And it's like, no, I do. I remember your face. But it's like Kitty Cat Club, and it's just like, oh, right, John, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point with like First Ave shows that I've worked, because when I first started there, I was just like, oh yeah, I remember every show, and now I'm like, I don't remember what day it is.
Yep. No idea.
I could have been at that one. There are certain ones I do remember. Usually the ones that I'm like super psyched to work, or but like there are a few things that kind of like blur together. Like the dance nights blur together.
Yeah.
Where it's just like I know I've worked a bunch of them. I don't remember when. Like I always feel like it's like a time where you like, oh yeah, like you're in the dance night, and then there's its own kind of time until it's over. And it's kind of funny because like I was talking to when I was being interviewed for Mostly Minnesota, we were talking about like, I feel like that's how I socialized at some point. Like people would come to shows and be like, "Oh, Doc's working," or like, and then there's like, and that's how it is with the barterners too.
I think that was
like, it's like, yeah, it's like,
I think those are my exact words when I saw you at that show. Oh, Doc's working.
Like,
let's go see.
Like I feel like I kind of like you get to know the regulars a little bit, so like there's kind of like a little bit of an indicator. But with the dance nights, like I feel like so many regulars go to so many different ones, it's hard to like really delineate which one it was. And like there's one every week. And it's like and they're all different, but
yeah,
after a while it does get to a point where I'm like, but yes, I do remember the Mannequin Pussy show. Also it's hard not to. They're one of those bands like
they're so good.
immediately after that set, like took a 10-minute break and then like caught James on the way out. I was like, James, I don't know what you got to do to get them back, but that's a band I would love to see back here. And from Philly too, which is,
That's very cool.
That's but yeah, okay. So now I'm done typing.
Okay.
There's a lot of extra songs in this first set.
Yeah.
So just bear with me on that.
All right.
Because this one's fading out, and then I got a cue. There we go. Okay. You get to see how a sausage is made.
Yes.
That is the funny thing about doing this live is like most radio is pre-recorded. So like I'm literally like pulling all the levers to this thing go, like update the playlist, press this button. God. And sometimes I could be better timing it, I feel like, especially the underwriting things. Okay. Nina Simone. Hold on, one second. So that's what I'm doing, folks. If I ever just stop talking and then just kind of like, I am typing
so you pay
metadata into the thing.
So you're telling, like Good Intentions Paving Company into Sinnerman? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Like 17 minutes worth of music.
Welcome to my show. I love doing, like, I have when I think my record is, I think Renelle put Godspeed You Black Emperor on her top 10 list. And she's like, I don't know if you're going to play all of them because like these songs are pretty long. And I was just like, yep, we'll start with the 23-minute song. And just the whole thing. Like, I feel like I'm getting away with something when I do that.
Yeah.
So, like, I like doing it. Mm-hmm. But yes, extra long this time. It's also like, I don't know. I kind of like the fact that you can kind of be a little bit more lax with like KFAI and kind of like, especially now that we're online and we can kind of, do the thing. It's like a 2-hour show. Yeah. It's pretty freeform. It turns into a podcast pretty quickly. But yes, I love playing long songs on the air. And normally it's because like so the DJ can go to the bathroom. I just like doing it because like I think it's mischievous that's like as mischievous as I go these days. I was a little bit worse in my younger days, but not so much now. So one of the things I wanted to mention when we're on the air is how this record was produced, because obviously I have questions on how you did it with like the COVID thing. And but also you work with Holly Hansen and a bunch of other great people, and I want to know how that went in the pandemic and just otherwise. So we can always like repeat stuff and all that good stuff when we're on the air because it's a different audience. Like some people don't even tune into this at all, where some people only tune into the video and don't listen to the radio. I don't even know how it works. So if there's anything specific you want to mention for like the air, like always bring it up, especially like the if there are specific events tied to a release of a video or like the release of the record proper that like we just want to like repeat because it's even it gets really I feel like when you only have to go out of the house a few times a week, it's really easy to get dates like just mixed up into this like date salad. So let me know of anything of those specifics, and we can just like I will just work it into the conversation. But I was so back to where we originally started, where we last saw each other. I'm glad you mentioned the Mannequin Pussy show, because I was gonna say Stone Arch, and I was gonna feel really bad about it because I feel like that was like 3 years ago. No, 2 years ago?
We run into each other here and there.
Oh, usually we usually do, but now there's like...
not anymore. But we used to.
But it's I didn't realize how it's not that I'm antisocial as much as like introverted. And if I don't have an incentive to socialize, I don't. Like, I really.
It's really hard right now too to get back into that, like really, really hard. And not that everybody should be out socializing there, right now, but
No.
But like even just a friend like inviting you over for a backyard thing, or like trying to like plan that, and then like you plan it and you're like, okay, I have to go do this thing. How do I leave the house? How do what do I wear? I don't like should
it
like
is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's like there's a whole energy of just, and I had that anyway of just like, oh my God, I hope these plans get canceled, but like now I feel like everyone is in that world. So like there's this, even with Zoom meetings where it's just like, you just keep punting them down the road, and like, and it's nothing personal. I just think everyone is burnt out.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm burnt out, and I know everyone else is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also in that like weird thing where like everyone's just like, I can't wait for it to get back to normal. I'm like, honestly, no, I wouldn't be ready for the schedule I had before this was a thing.
Right.
And I'm honestly not looking forward to having 5 jobs again. Not. And I guess that's like the major lesson of this whole thing is like, maybe we don't have to do things the same way, and like maybe we can be. So it's like on one end, I'm like, I have that like weird like anxiety demon that whispers in your ear, which is like, you're not being a good friend, you're not being a good person, you need to reach out to these people. And then it's just like, I kind of have to remind myself, like, probably every single one of my friends and every single person I'm trying to like coordinate with is going through like the same thing, the same exact thing. It's like, it literally is not personal. There's nothing, there's nothing we're doing. And I don't know. I think it'd be nice for things to like get back going again, but like me personally, like I'm gonna let the rate, like it'll be like a fun run. Like I'm gonna let like the front half just get going, and then like I'll kind of pick it up later. Like I'll be there. I just have no grand ambitions.
Oh yeah, I mean, even just doing like album promo is just like a weird world to get back into.
Right.
And just like sending all these like emails and just managing all that, and then like even thinking about putting together a show, and like just like, oh my God, how do you book a show? I don't even remember how to do that. I don't know. Should I book a show?
Should I book a show? That's like a huge question. Like, and I know I use this joke all the time, but it's a real thing. Like when Monica LaPlante was on the show, she started playing like rooftop concerts like in fall and like outdoor distance stuff, and like we were kind of talking like it's a weird position to be a musician and kind of be like, I'm really excited for this show. Oh God, I hope people don't show up. Like that would be bad.
I'm gonna see people this one.
And so it's like there's like that weird planning of just, like I want to be conscientious, and then it's like I think the porch show, I've noticed some neighborhoods like Powderhorn, Kingfield, Como, like they're kind of organizing porch fests, and I like that. I think that's a nifty idea, especially since like most people kind of already have their pods, and like it's easy to just kind of have someone perched like away from everybody, and then it's like still the people who are already socializing can like kind of feel comfortable doing that. And like because like I was looking at the photos of some of the shows that were going on this weekend, and it was like such a roller coaster of emotions, because at first I started going like, oh my God, it looks so good. I'm so glad things are back. Like, look at, I see this person in the photos. I see this person in the photos. And then like after a while, you're like, I see a lot of people in these photos. Like, I don't know about this. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this at all. And yeah, who knows? I don't, but I kind of have just gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm not gonna book shows until my birthday at the earliest, but I'm also not gonna go to shows until maybe like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, maybe Memorial Day, but like I kind of feel like shows at this point are, I don't know. It's like going to Mars. I'm gonna wait until a few missions successfully come back from Mars before I sign
really
up
good
to go
analogy.
to Mars. And it's not that and I want to clarify this. It's not that I have doubts about the people putting on the shows. I know everyone who is involved in these things. Like they know what needs to be done, and they know like how to adapt, and I know they're going to do a killer job. Like everyone, Palmer's, everyone at Hook and Ladder, like they know what they're doing. I'm not worried about them.
No,
I am worried about the fact that I've worked live events for the better part of 2 decades now, and I just know no matter how big of a sign you put, people never read it. Like, bathroom is not this way. Like,
right.
like immediately people would be like, "Is this where the bathroom is?" It's like, no, this is the kitchen. This is the kitchen. This is the kitchen. This is actually the kitchen. Please don't go in there. This is the kitchen. Like, it's like you can put 3 signs and people are not gonna. And I think there's already like a weird antsiness to like, oh, we gotta go. And I think that comes with like a certain of just like, well, just let me in. Like I got my shots.
Yeah.
I paid my admission, just like, so there's that. And then there's the other side of that coin where it's like this weird, sick, twisted pride of like, authorities can't hold me. Like I'm more important than everyone in the room. And I feel like I should be able to do whatever I want because I paid my admission fee. And it's just like, I'm going to wait until, I don't know. I'm going to wait till there's like a natural rhythm and like people just kind of like, yep, you know, there's just longer lines now. And there's like because there will be an adjustment period. Yeah. Okay. After this song, we will be on the air. So let me type Nancy Sinatra in here. I
like the weirdest little setup here. Okay.
Okay. All right, so 1 minute here, and then we'll be back. Well, we never left. We're just
not on the radio part of it.
We're going into a different place. Okay. All right.
We're going into a different place, to another realm.
Sometimes I feel that way, and I don't know, like it's I feel like the last person I was talking about this was like Liz Draper, of just like getting into that weird headspace of just like, did I die? Maybe that's what this is.
My afterlife.
All right,
not what I expected.
So we heard some Nancy Sinatra here on KFAI and Nina Simone Sinnerman, as well as Joanna Newsom. Yes, if you haven't figured out already, I like playing really, really long songs on the air on this show. And speaking of this show, this is Desert Islands. If you're just tuning in, I'm your host. You can call me Doc. And this is a program where I make mixtapes for my guests based on the 10 records they would bring to a desert island. And today I am making one for Bev. I'm speaking with Nikki Beverly, the songwriter and the fearless leader of this project. And I'm really excited to talk to you because I feel like we have, I feel like we've done a lot of gigs together. We see each other a lot. And when I found out that you were like, pivoting into a new band, I was like, oh, cool, because like I've always been rooting for you. And then when I heard you were collaborating with Holly Hansen and pandemic be damned, you still made this record, and it's coming out soon, and there's 2 singles available. I'm using air quotes if you're listening to this and watching it. Available. Are these available on all streaming? Is it just Bandcamp only? Are you waiting until it's properly released? And if well, when is this coming out?
The album is out May 21st. It's called Crusher. And the singles are out. You can get them on Bandcamp, on my Bandcamp page. And they're not anywhere else right now, I don't think. Well, except for like YouTube. But mainly because I didn't know how to do it anywhere else. Like this whole album will be on all the digital streaming places on May 21st. Of course, yeah. But the little pre-stuff, I have no idea how to make that work. So right now you can listen to the songs on Bandcamp. The first single is on YouTube with the video that we did, and that's where you can hear it right now.
We're going to hear from that record a little bit later in the show, not to do a Ryan Seacrest move to keep people hooked on. But yes, we're going to hear not only from that, but more local music. And on this show, speaking of the mixtape, yes, we're also going to hear from the Lemonheads, Laura Marling, Janice Ian, and much, much more. So if you're just tuning in, I'm talking to Nikki Beverly of Bev, made a mixtape based on the 10 records Nikki would bring to a desert island. We're going to hear from her new album, but first, we're going to hear from our friends at... Long songs. I was going to forget the underwriting, and I have to do that. 7 to 9 p.m. on KFAI. It's really rare when I actually do that at 10:23. 10:23 is like the exact time I'm supposed to do that, and I never.
Well done. It is right on.
It's like broken clock is right twice a week. Hold on. I have like 3 monitors now, which is insanely cool. I'm actually really glad we have them, but now my ADD is going nuts. And that is a journey. That is a journey I really went full circle with during the pandemic, because with my own mental health journey, was kind of focused on like more of like the depression and anxiety aspect of it, and then like hold on. Okay. So I was always just kind of like when I was younger, I was definitely medicated for it, but as an adult, I was just like, oh yeah, ADD is not real. Like I just had depression and anxiety. Like that's not a thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a thing. It is so much of a thing. I can't I never watched many movies. I mean, but like now I can't. It is like
oh, you can't like sit through a movie.
I can't finish them. I can't finish them. Like it's easier for me to like read like a chapter of a book every day, because like there's like a weird tactile feeling, and like you're kind of like achieving goals page by page. You're like, oh yeah, like I did a thing. Mm-hmm. I noticed like the last live stream I did, I had to play without my glasses on, because the less my eyes can focus on, the better. Like it's so hard. It was like hard to finish songs, because I would get focused on like, am I rushing or dragging? I feel like I'm and then like it's like, wait, what am I doing? There's like another verse to this song, and it's just like like it is overload. And now that like shows are coming back, and like you're trying to like set up a release cycle, like I've been DIY the entire time. I have never thought about like hiring someone until now, because now I'm just like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know, like, I don't know when, I don't even know what day it is.
Changed, you know, like City Pages is gone. I don't know who to, I did hire somebody to like do stuff, because I don't know where to go anymore. I have no idea. Plus, I don't have the mental capacity to like send a million emails every day. I can't do it.
No. No,
So,
and like
yeah.
City Pages going, like, here's the thing about City Pages. There's probably a lot of musicians out there like who had their gripes with City Pages, but admit it, you miss the City Pages. Like, like everyone misses the City Pages. Like I definitely, you know, I definitely had my gripes, but I also like remember how cool that paper was to just have so much local music, like given equal time and equal footing amongst, and with that not there, I really appreciate the younger kids stepping up and like they're starting zines and blogs again, which is awesome. It's great for the scene, but now we don't have the aggregators with the local economy's best interest in mind, which I feel like that's what City Pages was. Like everyone has like media outlets where it's just like, hey, if it, you know, if it bleeds, it leads. If whatever sells, like we're gonna keep giving that thing, and that's unfortunately how the game works. And I'm not a fan of it, but you know, at least you had a Village Voice affiliate that was kind of like this cool clubhouse that actually had the community's best interests at heart. You know, maybe, you know, you know, like say what you will about it. I firmly believe everyone who worked at City Pages was trying to make their community feel cooler and the stuff in it feel cool. And the local blogs right now are cool, but like right now they're primarily focused on like certain pockets of the scenes and like what's left of the media landscape. And I don't want to criticize because I know how hard it is to do this stuff and it's a lot of work and it's like it's nothing personal. But the problem is like the big head honchos, they're too big to understand what's going on. And also some of them have personal grudges against creators for some reason because this is still a small enough town. So like there's like this weird blockage of content that like is just not like something needs to take its place. And I don't know, but at the same time, I don't have the startup capital to do it, and I'm not I wouldn't even want to do that.
No.
But not having it is gonna be interesting to see how things like get to. I don't want to say back to normal because what does that mean?
Right.
What does that even mean? But like when there's gonna be a show a night, how about that? When there's gonna be more than one show a night, we're back to that average. It's I have like a lot of tinfoil hat type conversations where it's just like the optimist in me and like that like DIY punk who was raised as a theater kid, like that just like, we must put on the show. Like, part of me is just like, wait, this could be even cooler. We have the opportunity to rebuild this better and like actually address the things that need to be addressed and change them for the better.
Yes.
But I've also had my heart broken by this industry so many times, and there's that part of me where it's just like, this could actually turn Wild Wild West, and there's just like two bandits that just run everything. And it's I don't know. As long as Live Nation doesn't get a stronger foothold in this town than they already do, I think we'll be fine. But that's a real thing. The Live Nation Goliath is like hard to go against. Okay, so we're going to be back after Harry Nielsen here.
Right.
What did I tell you about those long songs? Jump to the Fire, Harry Nielsen, here on KFAI. And today on Desert Islands, I'm making a mixtape for Bev. I'm joined by Nikki, the songwriter of this project. Okay, so this album is coming out shortly. And off the mics, we were kind of talking about like what does music coming back to quote unquote normal look like? I do think there will be live streaming and shows kind of continuing to coexist. But with this release cycle, do you have anything coming up as far as live in-person outdoor shows or live stream content that's going to be accompanying this? Or like what was your strategy releasing this album, considering the unstable ground we're all in right now?
Yeah, I don't have any sort of performance to go along with like the release. I thought about trying to do like an outdoor thing for the release on May 21st, but you know, things like as soon as I started thinking about it is when things started opening back up, and then everything was kind of booked immediately anyway. Like people just kind of, so I was like, well, I mean, I guess I'm fine without doing that. Plus, you know, in order to play a show with a band, you have to practice, and you have to wait for everybody, like at least be all of us vaccinated and ready to go, and so that takes time, and that's just now happening, and so there's like no way we'd be, you know, ready after not playing together for a year to play a show in like 3 weeks or whenever it is. So so I don't really have any live performances, which is very strange. It kind of feels like you're releasing an album and just sort of dropping it into the void and hoping somehow, you know, people hear it. So it's just a lot of like social media and newsletters and video and that. Yeah, it's a different world for sure.
It is different, but at the same time, a little part of me, when you said like, yeah, it feels like you're dropping it in the void, I was just like, oh, I guess things haven't really changed. Because sometimes that's just how it feels, where it's you know, like you'll make some like dad joke that gets like the most likes you've had in a week, and then you're like, hey, there's this thing I've been working on for 3 years. I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of it. I hope you. Nobody? Okay, cool. All right. Thanks, friends. Here's my cat. Oh, you want more of the cat? Okay, yes. All right. Yep. Maybe I'll put the cat on the album cover. See if that works.
I've used pets for promotion before. I'm not against that, and it works. You know.
That sounds like an agency. Like, yeah, I'm working at pets for promotion. But no, it does feel strange. In the fact that I actually think not booking a show is the smart play, which is weird because normally you would be like, no, we need the show because the show but in this day and age, like I almost think it's smarter to have it slow jammed a little, because I think there is going to be this weird process of like, hey, now that shows are coming back, we should go see, wait, what shows should we see? And there is going to be like a cachet of records coming out that I think people will circle back and be like, oh, well, this record came out in May. Oh, wait, they're playing in August. Let's check that out. Yeah. So I do think not having anything is actually a good move. But also, what do I know? No one knows.
Right. Nobody knows right now. Nobody knows right now.
Anytime in the music industry, someone says, oh, you know what you should do? Don't listen to that person. No. Because if it worked, they'd be doing it. Like no one knows what we're doing. But here on Desert Islands, what we do is I make mixtapes for my guests based on the 10 records they bring to a desert island. Bev has a record coming out very, very, very soon. If you're just tuning in, Nikki, what is the exact date this record is available for all platforms?
May 21st.
May 21st. If you're just tuning in, that's when the new Bev record comes out. Crusher. Ooh, one of us owes the other a soda. And yes, I'm making a mixtape for the 10 out of the 10 records Bev would bring to a desert island. And let's get back to that. Here is the Lemonheads here on KFAI.
Love this album.
Were you at this show?
No,
when they came to town?
I didn't get tickets.
It was like, I was surprised by how like good they've aged. Because like especially like with your favorite bands from that era, like sometimes you get those things where it's just like, that song was in a movie and we, you know, like we're not gonna get this money again and we got to go out, and like 3 of the members, like you can tell like the years weren't kind to them, and some people, but like they sounded great. Like,
Mhm.
like I don't know if they want to keep touring, but I was like, y'all could keep touring for a
But
while.
they're coming
Like,
back. They're coming back
good.
in like November. They're going to be at First Avenue or something like that. It's late, like sometime in the fall. I just saw that this week, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I would like them and Dinosaur Jr. Why I feel like Dinosaur Jr. is like that. They're just one of those like indie rock outfits that like it's. I feel like I'm always just gonna see them on the concert calendar. They're like, oh yeah, Dinosaur Jr. is coming back, and like,
yeah,
and I love that. I love Dinosaur Jr. But like the Lemonheads, I honestly thought they were just like, yeah, we did the reunion tour, we're done. So I'm really excited
yeah.
that they're coming back because I thought this album was an overlooked album of that era.
Yeah,
Like,
I love. I mean, this album is just hit after hit after hit, in my opinion. Just front to back, perfect
and
little
like,
rock album.
and it was yeah, it was just good to see him. Like I feel like especially the stuff off of this record, like it sounded like the record still.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I was super. I mean, obviously, super bummed to miss that one, and I can't remember why. I don't know if I had like a conflict or if like they sold out really fast.
that one I
can't
think
remember.
sold out really,
Yeah,
really.
that might have been what it was. Yeah.
Because I know there's a big pocket of Lemonheads fans up in these parts, so it makes sense. But yeah, like I've always thought, and they're a band I feel like if you don't know them, you know a song, at least one song where it's just like, yeah, and you're like, no, I don't. Like there's at least like, with like some of my younger friends, it's like, oh yeah, My Drug Buddy, like that's either that's a song they know, or it's this one, or
her Simon and Garfunkel cover.
yeah, well that's always
big
a
thing.
My favorite tune they had was just because I think it's such a clever premise for a song of like I lied about being the outdoor type. That tune is my favorite Lemonheads song. But oh shoot! Speaking of Lemonheads, I have to make sure I actually type their band name into Spinatron. There we go.
Oh, you picked my favorite song off this album.
Really? Yes. I love when that happens.
And also with the Harry Nilsson you played, that was a good choice. Like what was it? I don't know, years ago now, 5 years ago. I don't know, a different band formation that I had. We really wanted to cover that song. We were gonna try it, but
I love that bass line. It's like I did Nielsen ever play a show? I don't think he did.
I don't know.
Like I think he almost went out of his way to like never play unless it was like this thing recorded for television or something. Like I don't think he actually it's like who, like I don't actually know who was playing on that record. It was probably some pretty good people. But yeah, like I've always had a lingering fantasy of like whatever band I'm in, we need a 10-minute song. Like something was just like, yeah, just like a driving repetitive, like it just keeps building and building and building. Like not all of our songs need to be 10 minutes. Like I don't want to be like a jam band or a post-rock band. Like just one 10-minute song. One Mark the Moon, one, something in there. But yeah, Laura Marling is one of those songwriters I forget how good she is. Until you like go back and be like, oh yeah, this is a cool record. But
this record just like hit me. I don't know what, like when it came out, I remember like the first night listening to it, like I like this, and then I kept liking it, and it's still like it hasn't left my like top 10 albums list since it came out. Like it's just, I don't know, I find it just comforting and really just beautiful. Her voice too is just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I loved the guitar tones on this track. Like it's Yeah, it was just like the hardest part about this playlist was, do I go all like one feeling or do I try to mix it up?
Mhm.
And I after this, it's gonna get interesting. It's gonna do a lot of like loud, quiet, loud. Hopefully you like it. And I also managed to talk a lot. For instance, I thought, whoo, uh, oh god, I thought we were. Hmm, yeah, the local music normally comes in 20 minutes, but now I'm just like, oh, okay. If we miss anything, the playlist I just post it later
Mhm.
on Spotify because sometimes I don't have time to play every track I assembled for it, and like
Mhm.
and sometimes I make audibles, but hopefully I can keep some keep the brevity up and like make sure these things go in time. But I actually seg this into uh, the Janice Ian tune. Um, just cause, well, I mean, I think it fits, but
I can
well,
see how a Janician song would fit after that.
yeah, it's this outro that just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Uh,
This album, I love this album so much. It is my favorite album of all time by far.
really?
It's so just dramatic. It is the
Yeah,
best album to sit and drink wine to and sing along at the top of your lungs. It is just like, it's just so dramatic and full and also just like, like lyrically, it's just really good too. And she's just so earnest and
yeah,
pretty, and like the production quality is really great on it, and um,
yes.
it's
Oh my
it's
god.
lovely. And when I found the vinyl for like 50 cents at Electric Fetus, I was like, you guys, I would have paid $50. I would have paid like
Was it in
$200
good
for it.
condition though?
It's
Because
perfect.
sometimes,
It's perfect.
really?
Yeah, it's absolutely
Oh,
perfect. I was so happy.
I used to be a dollar bin warrior until some of the records I would start buying, I would get back, and like you could really only play it like 5 times before it would start to degrade, and like then it just kind of becomes like, oh, I don't want to listen to that because I'm gonna keep like it's gonna keep deteriorating, and it was already in such shabby shape when I got it that I was just like, all right, I just need to just pony up the thing and like pay for a thing, and
Mm-hmm.
now that just never happens. I haven't gone to a record store maybe 2 years.
Oh God, I go way too much.
But yeah, this record was another record where I was just like, wow, I don't think I'm familiar with this record until I was like sifting through it to like pick which tune. I was like, oh no, I know this record.
Yeah.
Like
Like
I just
the big song at 17. I first heard this album or this of her. I was 17 years old. It was like Saturday night, and I was watching a repeat of Saturday Night Live on whatever channel. Like, and it was
yeah
like she was the guest, and she played at 17, and I was 17, and I was like, started crying. I was like, this is like, she's nailed it. She knows how I feel. And then I was working at a record store at the time too. So like the next day, I like went to the record store or went to work, and we didn't have it. And I like special order it out of the big book that you had to special order things out of back then. And yeah.
There's a few records like that you have to call ahead because like, you would think they would have it, but they don't.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like they do, but they don't. Like some places like have it in their catalog, but they're big enough that they have to like have it shipped to that store, and then like sometimes it's just like a curator's collection, and
Yeah.
it's like they have like a really good selection of a few genres or like an artist catalog, and then it's just like, how do you not have this record? Like it's like you have this record, but you don't have Tapestry. Like
Right.
what? Okay, all all right.
Well,
Or you
that when you
have all this, but not a single Joni Mitchell record.
Right.
Like, and it's just like, yeah, I got into that with tapes, because it's like, I don't know, like sometimes tapes are just like impossible to find. And whenever I find like a record that like what my friend Colin's store, when it was around, Dead Media, like they would be the place I would go for tapes, because it's like I found a Morphine tape there once, and I was just like,
Ooh,
what?
wow.
It's like, and they're also one of those bands, I feel like it's like that scene in Step Brothers. Like whenever someone mentions that, it's like, did you just talk about Morphine? Were we best friends now?
It's
Like,
weird
yep.
how they're kind of forgotten. Like that, I can't remember the name of the album now.
Yeah.
Because like I have 2 other albums. I really enjoy them, but like they've kind of just fallen by the wayside as far as musical history sort of side goes.
They were one of those bands that, like, I feel like Mark Sandman was already like a musician that was just like, okay, is this cat from the past or is this cat from the future? What's going on here? And they kind of jumped on the scene as mysteriously as they went out, you know, like they kind of literally came out of nowhere. Like the last, I am obsessed with Mark Sandman. He's like my favorite musician. So like I might, but like Morphine came out of nowhere from like the last band he was in was called Treat Her Right. And the band broke up because they were playing a venue that burned down while they were playing it. And that's where he had this rule of like, okay, from now on, like if you're in this band, you have to be able to load in from van to venue in one trip. And just had this whole thing and just immediately started Morphine, and it just took off. And then like for a hot second, they were like the biggest band you've never heard of.
Yeah,
like you had to be kind of like in the know.
Yeah.
And then like a lot of people got into Morphine after it was over because they're just like, what happened? I just found out about this band.
Yeah.
It's just like he had a I don't know if it was like ruled a heart attack or like a like just an embolism, is that the right word? Or like the aneurysm. Yeah, like it just, he died on stage.
Yeah.
And just like, and I think they're one of those bands, he was just one of those artists where it's just like, well, no one was really doing anything like that. And once he's gone, no one's really going to do anything like that again.
No.
And I think the fan base still loves the band, but like without the magic of the live shows. And there was like this weird thing of like people would go because like it was like this secret you had to know about. And then you know, without the live shows happening, it kind of just went back to that cult of like, it's like that cool rock you found of just like, this is my favorite band. And I don't even know how I started talking about this, actually. Oh, the tapes. But yeah, so like anytime I find a record store that has that band on tape, I mean, like, period. You know, their records are kind of hard to find in general, let alone on cassette. That's always like, and that is kind of what I miss about music, of the fact like the physical artifacts were almost something you had to like hunt for. And I mean, I'm not trying to say one thing is better than the other, but
no, I'll get it on record if I can, if it's available on record. And then, you know, even double buy it if I really love it and get it, like download it as well. I mean, because I listen to like my iPod. I go for walks, you know, I'm always having music on in my ears. So.
Yeah. I've been doing I've been trying to like stick to streaming for like podcasts, just because I feel like because I do a lot. I've been doing a lot of walks lately as well, and I've been trying to do books on tape, just because I feel like streaming isn't like helping any of the artists anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like I've been trying to use it for like public domain stuff, and then my lessons. Like anytime someone wants to learn something, it's just like it's probably on one of them, so just pull it up. But doing that, I realized like, oh, the only way I can listen to stuff is like the tape deck in my car, and then the stereo I have only play. It's one of those like old things from the 90s that only plays tapes and records. It doesn't even have a CD player. So whenever people give me CDs, like they just end up at KFAI because I'm just like, I don't have a, like my laptop can't even rip this anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
I just bought a CD player.
Really?
Yeah, last winter. Yeah. It's kind of fun.
Is it like one of the big platters where it's just like it has like the multiple?
No, it's just a single disc, but it is one of those ones that I think you see in like recording studios, you know, where you can like do all sorts of things with it. Not that I'm using it for that, but because it's really hard to find CD players, and I wanted one that would, you know, all hook up to my record, like everything hooked up together, and so that was what I could get. I'm looking at this like people.
It's so weird because I don't think the CD is a bad format at all. Like I actually think it's pretty good. But I don't own a CD player. Yeah. Like it's, and I don't know what's gonna happen with that. Like because like making CDs is hard. The people who make CDs, you know, it's a weird price point because like you either have to make like a teeny tiny order where it's like it's like clearly for like a promotional event where you're just giving them away. Or you have to make a sizable order, or you have to make like an order that is like too big for most bands to satisfy. Like 1,000 records for most local bands is just like you're gonna be having those in your garage for years.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's like there's no in between. Like at least with vinyl, like you can kind of just be like, we only want 100. Like I feel like places don't like doing 100 CDs anymore. They're like,
oh, I'd say the opposite.
Why make 300? Why you make 300?
I found the opposite. Yeah, I only did 100 CDs.
That's the move, I think.
And then the vinyl, I did order, but it's going to be a while. Like vinyl's super delayed, but I only ordered I think 300, and that was actually harder because a lot of places have minimum orders of like 500 to 1,000. So
that didn't used to be the case until the materials got like so rare. Like even the big dogs at the trough, like the majors, they have to delay their vinyl release until like December.
Yeah,
like,
well, that was
it's insane.
I couldn't feel too bad about, you know, oh well, my album's coming out in May, but the vinyl won't be ready until like hopefully November. I mean, I don't like even quite know yet. But because I'm waiting on a vinyl I ordered from like, you know, Taylor Swift, so she's not getting her vinyl in time. I'm not getting it.
And I mean, it's like it's Taylor's world, and we're just living in it.
And her vinyl's
you know,
great,
if she can't get vinyl on time, no one's gonna.
Right, exactly. So.
And it's I don't know what the solution is there either, because like as much as I love vinyl, I kind of feel like it's like that it's like that Father John Misty song where it's just like, oh yeah, like, you know, like just let's not think about all the plastic and oil and cellophane and like all the pollution it takes to make a thing. So like there's part of me that's just like, should we be doing this? But I also don't want to be like, I make weird music on purpose. Like that's already a hard sell. Like, do I really want to be like, nah, only mini discs. I only release mini discs. My next thing's gonna be on chip tunes. It's like I don't want to be the artist that goes like less accessible, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the vinyl thing, especially since now it's just like, well, wait a minute. Are we actually running out of resources to make this? Can we make this format in a different thing? Like what? And with normal industry stuff, like it's usually just like the barons kind of camping on the materials and going like, well, you have to go through us. But in this case, like it was like that tape shortage where it's just like when Wilco bought like the last remaining things of like tape, and like they had to like wait to like actually update the infrastructure so more people could record on tape.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what's happening, and like I don't know what to do about it. Like it's because it's always been my dream to release stuff on vinyl, and now I'm just like, it feels
Well,
feels like a victory. I did it, but am I part of the problem? I don't know.
I did it the first time for my last album, and I can't go back now. I love it. I love having an album on vinyl.
Stand by. Okay. Camper Von Beethoven, Take the Skinheads Bowling, Hop Along, Tibetan Pop Stars, Sleater Kinney, and Janice Ian, Laura Marling, the Lemonheads, all good things. Here on Desert Islands, I make mixtapes for my guests based on the 10 records they would bring to a desert island, and I am making one for Bev today. I'm speaking with Nikki Beverly, the fearless leader of this project, via Zoom, and we're on the radio right now. And we have 2 singles on your Bandcamp, 1 more set, and we're actually just going to play one of those singles.
Ooh.
And we were talking about release strategies of just like, not only is it hard in COVID, but it's just literally hard. Like literally, it's literally hard to release something, because we were talking about like, you have this set to press on vinyl, and that you have more units coming out on vinyl than you do CDs. But the vinyl has to wait because there's not enough vinyl in the world.
Yes. Yes.
And it's such an interesting sign of the times, I guess. Like,
and everybody I think is trying to get out there and put their albums out now that have been waiting for the past year as well. So like, it's just really, the system is very clogged right now, and people still aren't fully back to work. And so it's going to be some time for the vinyl, but it is ordered and you can pre-order it, and I will get it to you as soon as I have it. It's completely out of my hands.
In the meantime, so what are you going to do during the wait? Like, do you just wait, or
I mean, if you get the album on vinyl, you'll get the digital copy right away.
Sure.
I mean, ideally, like we were talking about shows earlier, and like, can you play them? Can you not? I hope when the vinyl's ready, that things will be a little more opened up, and maybe we can do a vinyl release show, and that will be sort of another breathing some more life back into the album after some time. And I mean, that's the goal. That's the hope. Right.
It's just kind of have. It's weird because in the era of streaming, there's always like, they're like, should we have a release show? Like, it's always out there, but not, like now I feel like you could do little events for little different things. And now I've even heard of bands, they're signed to multiple labels because one handles vinyl and the other will handle tapes, and it's just like that's a whole new thing.
That is a new thing.
So streaming May 21st. Do you have an estimation on the vinyl, or is it just like maybe November?
I heard fall, or like fall. So that could be September, that could be November.
Yeah. Well, like I'm being sarcastic and sincere a little bit. Like, it's encouraging the fact that, like, okay, this year. But it's also kind of discouraging where it's just like, fall.
Yeah.
What part of fall? That's a whole season. There's a lot of fall.
It could be snowing, or it could be 80 degrees. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen with that. Well, I'm at the very least, I feel like folks will know when you know. Because this is an industry-wide problem. Like, we were joking off mic that like folks, even Taylor Swift is having this problem.
Yes.
Her vinyls are like pushed to I heard December, but
well,
that's just
I ordered an album from her in December that was supposed to come out in February, and then it said May, and now we're in May, and I haven't heard anything. So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yes,
it literally happens to the best of us.
Yes. She can't get it done, then nobody can get it done.
Nobody can. Nobody can. It is the top of the hour here at KFAI, and you are tuned into Fresh Air Community Radio, 90.3 FM in Minneapolis, worldwide, at kfai.org. If you're watching us on Twitch or Facebook, you already know this show and mixtape is for Bev, and I'm speaking with Nikki Beverly. But if you just tuned in, this is Desert Islands, and I'm speaking with Nikki Beverly. New album Crusher is going to come out May 21st, and we're actually going to hear a new single from that in a little bit. We also have local music from Wanna Bianca, Butter Boys, and brand new Taba coming up. But first, here is Judy Sill here on KFAI. Okay, this is normally the time where it's just like when I have these playlists, I always like try to time it out where it's just like perfect. That track will happen right at the top of the hour, and I think historically I have never been able to do that.
There's a lot that could go wrong, you know.
Which I guess is like, I mean, well, that is the thing about whenever I talk about the way I do this show, a lot of people kind of like look at me like wide-eyed, where it's like there's a lot that could go wrong, but it's just like anyone who's worked in radio knows like something goes wrong every show. Every time. Like nothing, like it's live radio, like something is bound to go wrong, but wrong is not really the word for it. It's just like something that didn't go planned. Yeah. And sometimes like it's weird things to for example, like one time I heard they were towing cars on the West Bank for street cleaning. So I put on an Allman Brothers tune that was like 10 minutes long, and I like ran out, moved my car, and then came back to the studio and like just finished the show. Like there's like weird stuff like that, or sometimes like this one of the CD platters will just break, and not in a way where like smoke is coming out of it, just like in a way where like it kind of does that electronic thing where it's just like, hey, what's wrong, buddy? Like, are you okay? And then it'll be like 12, 12, 12. Or like, I don't know. Okay, I don't know what that means. And then like you try to skip the track, and it just like, it's almost like the bank ATM where like you can hear it eat the card, like, like, oh, now it's wanting to the CD. There's just like weird things that always go wrong, or yeah, I don't know, but that I feel like that's just radio in a nutshell. Like things are just constantly just improvise, adapt, overcome. You know, like it's never gonna be. It's never going to be the thing that you want it to be. And also, you know, there's a lot that can go wrong. For instance, me typing and talking doesn't always go smoothly. But, you know, Mitski, I am so glad you put Mitski on the list, because I think I just think she's neat. I like Mitski a lot, but she's just been one of those artists that I thought was like, oh yeah, this is definitely one of the most intriguing artists to come out in a while. And I think she keeps getting better. Like with everything she does, like she's going in new directions, and it's always like no one writes songs like her. So like even when she does like dancey stuff, like nobody. Yeah. It's like, it had like an ABBA disco feel, but like that was also like a very Mitski track. Yeah. And I've also like seen her perform where it's just like before this material came out, like a lot of the times, like it was just her like slamming an open tune guitar and she was just screaming the poetry.
Yeah.
And then like you would like find it on the record later and be like, whoa, that's like, so she was like working out new stuff. Like I just always dig. I just dig what she's about, and I'm always happy to see Mitski on a playlist,
Well, I love
especially
that
Judy too.
she doesn't really, her albums are so versed. Like there's so much going on in them. I feel like there's not like, I'm going to write, you know, a punk song, then I'm going to write this soft ballad. And like, it's like it's all there. And I love that. I think that's,
Right.
you know, I like albums like that. That's what I try to do. You know, I don't want to just be like, just this or just this or just this. Like I get so influenced by so many different things that I'm like, oh, I want to write a song like that. I want to write a song like that. And then
because I write in the same way, where it's just like I kind of like I realized early on, especially when I was trying to make it in like some of the scenes that I liked, like either the folk or country scenes, where it's like, yeah, I grew up on that music, but whenever I try to write it, it doesn't sound like a country song. It sounds like me writing a country song. And that's what I always love about Mitski, where it's just like, she's not trying to do a thing. It's just like, I think that's just like just how she works. Like, it's just like, yeah, I just want a song that makes me feel a type of way.
Yeah.
And it's not like you said, like, yep, like punk song today. Like, it's just like, I need a crescendo. I think she's like kind of thinking in terms like that. And I'm always interested in like what she's up to, you know, like, because it's usually like, I remember when I was working the Pixies shows, and I love the Pixies, but there was definitely one of the nights they came and just ripped it. But the other night you could tell like they were just kind of phoning it in. Like they encored with Where's My Mind, and you could just tell Black Francis was just like, I've sang this song 100 times. And there was times where like I thought Mitski smoked the Pixies. Like I thought her set was just like, wow, that was raw and real and like
I first saw her like her first time I saw her perform anyway was at Triple Rock. And it was just, she was played bass most of the time. And then she had like a guitar player and a drummer. And it was just very intimate and just like you said, like just thrashing. And then the next time I saw her was at First Avenue, where she was headlining that last album. And it was like theatrical and light show. And she was like dancing kind of. And like there's choreography anyway. And it was just completely different experience, but also wonderful. Like a lot of both.
Every time she does something, I feel like I see her in a new direction. I think she does a really good job of like using the medium, because even those Pixie shows, like it was just kind of like whitewashed stage. They were all dressed in black, but that's all they needed. Like it was just this raw, stripped down thing, and it was like, even though it was in a theater, it was like better for it. Yeah, she's just a cool artist. Okay, so I'm going to this is where I start talking about the local calendar. So stand by. New music from Juana Bianca. Well, the new is a relative term, as we're finding out. It came out in the last 6 months. I don't know. Did 2020 exist? Who knows? But yes, that was from their Quarantine Belly EP. That was a track called Quarantine. So speaking of local music, let's talk about what's going on as far as live streams and actual in-person shows. I am going to have to make a difference between that because there's a lot of both. And yeah, so I will do my best to clarify. Tonight, of course, we have the Built to Last All-Stars of the Caboose. Great players playing some Grateful Dead tunes. Always a mixture of a cast of characters. We got JT Bates is sat in. We got members of the Big Woo, Frogleg. It's always a good time. And that's at the Caboose tonight, Thursday. Tomorrow, Dakota Dave Hull is going to continue his online concerts. 3 songs at 10 a.m. Start off the morning right. He also does this Tuesday and Thursday. Javier Trejo is going to do Midway Saloon at 8 p.m. He also live streams from the Terminal Bar every Tuesday. Friday, there's a lot going on Friday. Back catalog listening party featuring Sarah Morris at 4 p.m. Then Taylor James Donsky is 331 patio show. So he will be at the 331 patio outdoors, socially distanced, at 5 p.m. And then the Mill Valley Market, Lolo's Ghost is going to be performing at 6 p.m. And then Ben Cook-Felt's Mother Banjo and Doug Collins are going to be performing outside at Palmer's at 7 p.m. And then Sig Cell is going to be performing at the Terminal Bar at 8 p.m. So you actually have the ability to catch all these shows if you are brave enough. I salute you, music goer. That's a big Friday, and it's all happening that night. If you are not ready for the in-person shows just yet, there is a Cannes, Minnesota fundraiser featuring Jay Havoc, Sad Boy Dave, Admiral Fox, and Isosceles Kramer. That is a live stream event at 8 p.m. Saturday, Funk and Spuds are going to play the Raw and Polish sessions. That is a live stream set. And then an in-person set, Dan Israel and Mike Lane at Carbones. That is 7 p.m. Of course, we have the Tuesday night appearances from Eli Gardner, Sarah Morris. Terry Walsh is not going to be doing it because the Belfast Cowboys, they have a CD release show coming on May 7th. But that show is sold out, so if you're interested in that, you might have to settle for the live stream. Here are some things that are not sold out, however. Next week is Midwest Music Fest. That is a drive-in show. We talked to the Von Tramps. They're going to be one of the headliners, as well as Nerdy. And in-person show at the Hook and Ladder, Low Rats are going to be performing May 20th, and they're also going to be coming on this show in a few weeks. So if you think I missed something, or you just want to hear me mispronounce your band name on the air, email it to desertislandskfai@gmail.com. That is desertislandskfai@gmail.com. Okay, I have put this off long enough. We are on the air with Nikki Beverly, and we are actually going to play a song off of Crusher. So actually, okay, let's just play the track, and then we'll talk about how it was made, because I feel like I've already taken enough air. As is, if you're following us on the internet and you're one of the folks that plays at home and does both, please don't watch this video while you're driving. It's going to be archived. And if I end up talking over too many things, the full playlist, we will share this mixtape on Spotify so you can get all the tracks we didn't have time for. But we definitely need to play this. This is a track called Before the End by Bev, coming out May 21st. Okay, I love the tones on this record.
Yeah.
Because it's like everything on this record is like, it's simultaneously like, oh, this is a new direction, and then I think about it, I'm like, no, not really. Like I feel like it's simultaneously you like expanding into new areas, but like at the same time it's also very you. Like you've always kind of like played with a lot of these flavors, but I just love how they sound this time around, and I want to geek out and talk about how you were working with Holly Hansen.
Yeah.
But so is JT playing drums on this track?
No, this is Dan Elston Jones playing drums on this one.
Okay.
So yeah, he's boyfriend. He's my boyfriend, and he, we were able to. He's an amazing drummer. He's in a band called Banner Pilot, typically, and we were able to actually go to a practice space and practice together because we lived together, so it was fine. So he played on 3 of the songs, and then JT played on the rest. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get? Because like with musicians like that are in your pod, it's like a little bit easier to actually like rehearse with. It's like, well, we share the same germs and the same air, and like we're probably fine. How did you work about going to the other musicians? Because like, is Bev typically a 6-piece, or is it just kind of like whatever you're working with at the time?
Kind of. Like right before COVID, I was like the song right before COVID, the band kind of reformed a little bit. We had some lineup changes, and we'd only played like a couple shows. We only practiced like for a few months, and then COVID happened, and we couldn't do anything anymore. And so when but I had all these songs I wanted to do, and I was feeling kind of down in the quarantine dumps, and started chatting with Holly about it. And originally it was just going to be a really stripped down record. I'm like, I'll just do it like myself, and we'll just add some vibes and things. But then little things started happening, like, oh, Dan plays drums. Would you play on some songs? And then JT shares a studio space with Holly. He's already there. He has his own. That's where he works out of. And so he's already there with all of his stuff. And she's like, well, JT's here and he's available. And I was like, well, heck yeah. He's amazing. And so it just kind of happened like that.
So like, were the tracks all tracked live at Salon Sound, or did you have to like send some things to Holly as
No, they were all live. But what was interesting about it is that, well, the way that studio set up worked out really well because there's like several different rooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so nobody was ever in the same room. Like Holly would get everything set up beforehand, and then she'd be in her, production booth area. JT was in his drum room. Megan was in her bass room, and then I was like out in the empty lobby, and there was just microphones and things, and and that's the only way we communicated was,
through sound.
Yeah, and so it was interesting. It was like that we couldn't see each other and do anything. And Megan and JT recorded their tracks live, and they hadn't practiced. It was just like, here's the song. It has this kind of vibe, and they just like went with it. And then Holly tracked the lead guitar later, on her own, and I did my own little session. And I mean, it was different, but it worked out really well. And I mean,
that sounds really cool. That sounds I wonder if that if that kind of recording style is going to continue post-pandemic. Like, do you think like there's like happy accidents of just like, sounds really good when the drums are in the hallway? Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was just so impressed with like JT and Megan being able to do that without like, they had never played together before, and then they couldn't even like look at each other for cues. They were just, I mean, they were like completely in separate rooms.
I feel like they're
total pros.
Like, total pros. Yeah. Cause like Megan plays with a lot of people. I remember, it might have been Radio Church where she came in the studio, and I remember I was like, wait, Megan's in this band too? Like she plays with a lot of groups. Yeah. And JT is like on everything at this point.
Yeah.
Like most records coming out of this time zone, I feel like
pretty much
kind of be affiliated with.
And then like that track he played, Dan and Megan did it on different days. Like Dan did his part, and then Megan came in and did hers.
That's crazy, because like some of that playing, I can definitely feel the textures of just like, oh yeah, this was like architected and layered, but like some of this, like this sounds like a live band doing its thing. It's like, I don't know how you get that without having some musicians playing live.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much the demo that I gave Holly but with live people doing, you know what I mean? Like that drum beat was Dan's drum beat that he have a side project that we work on. And I kind of took it from that. It was just supposed to be a placeholder as I kind of constructed this song.
Right.
But then I liked it. and it just really worked out. And then I'd put like this weird, like rumbling bass, I just did this all in GarageBand. And when I gave Holly the demo and then we just tried to recreate it with live. And so then Dan just came back in and redid his drum part. And then Megan came in and kind of mimicked the bass, but made it much cooler.
Right.
And that I had put on there originally. And then like Holly even took some of my old like loops from the demo and put them in there and
leave them in.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Okay. Yeah. I did. So like, were there like full demo tracks that ended up on the record as well? Or is it
they're all done in the studio, but they were pretty close to the demos. We tried to really keep it that way, but just kind of because my demos are me and guitar, and then I'll like do electronic, like try to make things happen.
Right.
Like buttons and stuff. So just trying to recreate that with actual people.
Yeah. So. Do you use MIDI, or do you just like kind of
GarageBand
find things? Yeah.
Yeah.
So. It works though. I mean, like it's
for what I need it for. Like I'm not the producer person who needs to, I'm just like trying to capture my idea.
I actually go to bat for GarageBand a lot. Like I think it's unfairly like kind of ripped on. Like it does what it does really well. Like I mean, like what are you looking for? If you want the expensive plugins, go buy them. Like it's it's like but I'm also the kind of person, like I know how to use Ableton Live, but I don't know how to, like, I am terrible at like looping in Ableton, and that's what it's like for. So like I don't know if I end up using Pro Tools because it's just what I'm used to, or not. Like I don't know. And I
use GarageBand because it came with my Mac. That's why
it works. It works. Okay, hold on. We're gonna come back here. Brand new music from the Butter Boys. We also had a new track from Taba that is not coming out yet. That's going to be out May 12th. We also heard Before the End by Bev off of Crusher. That is also not out yet. That's coming out May 21st, but this is on Bandcamp right now.
Yeah.
This is one of the songs on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were working with Holly Hansen, who actually came on the show a few months ago.
Yeah.
I feel like you were working with like a lot of folks who have been on this show before. JT we just talked to. Megan's been on the show on various projects because Megan and JT play with a lot of folk.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of talking about like demoing in GarageBand and all that. What was the timeline with working with Holly? Like, because like you said, the pandemic kind of sidelined everything. It's like, was this a record you had already been sitting on? Like, oh, I got all these GarageBand demos and we're just gonna do this later. Like, how much time did it take to set up a live recording in the pandemic? Because at first I thought you were just like sending tracks, and then Holly was just like, well, JT's here, he'll kill it. And then but you actually had some points where there was multiple humans in the room doing this. Was there a journey to get to that point where you were sending demos back and forth, or did it just kind of like get to the point where like, we're ready, here we go, and we're gonna do the thing?
Yeah, I mean, I sent the songs to Holly last summer. After I saw that people were somehow making albums still, and I was like, how is this happening? I was like, oh, I've been sitting on these songs for so long, and like it was always planned to start recording in 2020. So Holly and I started talking about it, and her studio is set up where you never have to be in the same room. So nobody was actually in the same room with each other, which was really great and safe, and felt really good about that. So I sent her the songs, and then she kind of passed them on to JT and Megan, JT for drums and Megan for bass, and just so they could hear them. But then it just was kind of all done live for the most part, their parts anyway, in separate rooms, everybody like strapped to microphones and headphones across multiple areas of this floor of this studio space, just so we could all be separate. And and then it was like, here's the vibe of the song, and they would just do it. And I mean, it was incredibly impressive.
Everything sounds great.
Totally capturing what. And Holly is just amazing to work with, and she did so many stuff, like the production and the mixing, and just she engineered the whole thing. And
she played on this record too.
And she did all the lead guitar. Yeah, she did that on her own time after the recording sessions were done. So I mean, it was kind of pieced together, but I couldn't be happier with it. Holly's such a dear and so incredibly talented. She's
one of those creatives. I feel like anytime I find out she's working on something, I want to check it out.
Yeah, she really, I sent her like kind of inspiration songs, and she really took it, and just like, I just felt really heard, and like it was just a wonderful experience. So,
playing and producing. Really, I like the stuff she. But yeah, I was really excited that you were working together on this one. So there was a video released recently. Or is it released? Did I just see? Did I just see that on Facebook before? I'm not allowed.
There's a video up.
So how did you do this? Because this feels like, well, judging from the weather in the video, this feels like you had to do this in the pandemic as well.
It was in March. Yeah.
Okay. Last March.
No,
Okay.
this March.
Or this March. Okay.
Yeah,
well, that's not too bad. That's not too bad.
No. And we were outside, and that was Zoe Prince Flash directed that video,
Nice.
and filmed it, and she was also just a wonderful person to work with. We went outside, and I danced around downtown Minneapolis. She asked me if I would be comfortable dancing, and I was like, let's see how I feel when I get there. And then, she just made me feel like comfortable and confident, and I felt safe in her lens, I guess. So yeah, that felt okay. And I love the video. I'm so happy with it.
So folks, if you're just tuning in, this is Desert Islands. I'm your host. You can call me Doc. I make mixtapes for my guests based on the 10 records they bring to a desert island. Today we're talking to Bev. And you just heard at the top of that set a track called Before the End off of her new album, Crusher. So if folks like what they heard, Nikki, where can they hear it again? Where can they watch this video? Where can they anticipate this record coming out? Will it be streaming platforms, website, Bandcamp?
I guess like the easiest URL to give would be bevmusic.com. That's my website, which there are links to the Bandcamp page where you can hear these 2 tracks and pre-order the album either on digital, CD, vinyl, whatever you like. The video's up on YouTube. It's also on the website. Those are probably the best places to go right now.
Perfect. Sounds good. Okay, so we have more of that mixtape coming up, and if you like what you heard, be sure to check it out May 21st. Up next, we're going to have some Amy Mann, Nico Case, and some soul coughing. But first, we're going to hear from our friends, and then we're going to get into some Liz Phair, so stick around.
Our supporters help power.
Okay, that one was 5 minutes late. That was supposed to be 11:23.
Whoops.
Hopefully no one's terribly mad at me. But
Programming on KFAI is supported by Family Tree Clinic.
Oh,
family
man.
planning, reproductive, sexual.
See, here's the thing.
health,
Sometimes I only have like
now
3 of
offering
these,
confidential
and then
family
some
planning
episodes I have
guidance
like
hotline
8 of
for
them.
questions
And
regarding sexual health.
I just gotta,
More information
I
at
just gotta do it when it happens, I
sexualhealth.org.
guess. Okay, yeah, there we go. I forgot to type in Liz Phair. The thing about Liz Phair is most of my favorite tunes of hers I cannot play on the air.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I was gonna say, like, most of my favorite tunes of hers I can't play. Like, she's such a, like, her guitar, it's much more difficult than you would think just listening to her albums.
Yeah,
The chords she uses, the fingerings she uses, things like that are really hard.
They're like, I remember when I was teaching at School of Rock, we would have like 2 directors per show, and it's just like it's kind of funny. So like the directors of this show, we did a Women in Rock show. It was me, and I don't know if you know Danielle from Bruise Violet.
I know of her. I don't know personally, but
Yeah, but so like we were directing this show, and we were trying to, like, we need a Liz Phair song. We need a Liz Phair song. And we picked Divorce Song. It's just like, yeah, the kids could probably do that. But like we ran into the same thing of just like, yeah, it's 3 chords that you know, but it's not, it's pretty idiosyncratic. And we ran into that same problem with PJ Harvey too. Like her time signatures are ridiculous, but they don't sound like they are.
Yeah.
But like try singing and playing her stuff. It's like it's like patting your head and like rubbing the belly or reverse, like, and then you have to like it's some really, like, I don't want to say offbeat. Like it's just syncopated in a way that like you wouldn't think it is until you try singing, and then you lose where the downbeat is, and then you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, we've
what is
been Dan and I have been kind of we have like a side project we work on that we've kind of been experimenting with that, and you kind of get a little bit of it in that Before the End songs. That was his drum beat, where it's just kind of starts off a little off, and then you're never quite sure where the one is eventually. And so we've been working with that. So I've been trying to learn how to play guitar and sing to kind of stuff that's not in your 4/4 or 3/4 time frame, and it's it's hard. But once you get into the groove and any sort of patterns, you just find the pattern. But it's not easy.
It's like I don't know. I am self-taught, and it wasn't until I started getting formally taught where like at first I thought it was just like, oh, I just can't do this. And then I do think there is a weird way we teach music in Western society where like, especially with time, like it's time and music theory, I feel like are taught like the periodic table, and like they're taught like a math where I feel like they should be taught like a language, because like, especially time, because like I feel like Victor Wooten had like a really good way of putting this, of just like there's a video he had where people like, so like when you're soloing, like what modes and scales are you thinking of using, and like what do you, and he's just like, when you're talking to me, are you thinking about grammar? You know, like when I ask you a question, like are you thinking about the syntax of the words you're saying, or are you thinking about like giving an honest answer and like listening to what I have to say, and then I listen, you know, like I'm not really thinking about that kind of stuff. And it's just like, when, especially with like tricky time signatures, like, well, I think it goes both ways. You either have to treat it like a mosaic and like have like the big beats and the general pulse of things going on, or you're in like a weird Mahavishnu orchestra thing where it's just like you just have to count. But even then, I always found to like count the thing, whatever like they're telling me to count, like I'm doing the opposite of that, where it's just like, well, this is a 7 4 times. You need to like, I've always just like done like, I just break it down into 2s and 3s. I'm just like, okay, I don't think like that. And I feel like when I'm playing music like that, there's always this weird pressure of like a pop quiz in math class where you're like, well, what if I'm not doing it right? Am I doing this right? If I lose one aspect of this thing, the whole answer is wrong. The whole, you know, and then like your brain shuts down. When like it's easier for me to not think about stuff like that, or break it, like, you know, reduce your fractions. But especially with music theory, I think there are some problematic ways we teach that, especially since like music theory is taught like this is a settled science, when there's just 12 notes and we like the sounds of their combinations. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The whole theory behind it is just like, for some reasons, thirds and fifths just kind of have a stable ring to it. And we've observed this several times. Like it's not like like I remember taking voice leading, and like I just had so many teachers just be like, they're like, no, this is improper. Like it's just like, but why? It's just like, you have parallel fifths. Bach would never have parallel fifths. I'm just like, well, I'm not saying Bach is wrong. I'm just saying maybe that was just a stylistic choice Bach made because that's what Bach liked. It doesn't mean it's like a settled fact and like you're wrong and you should be like, shun the non-believer.
I have no musical training whatsoever. Like I totally self-taught. I don't know any of that stuff. And I feel like if I'm as far as being in a band with people, you have to do.
I had to learn it to teach.
Yeah, and I think like
either.
if I'm when I'm in, it might be really frustrating being in a band with just because I don't know and I'm like I don't have the time. I know like your basic chords, but once I start moving up the neck, I don't know what I'm playing anymore. And so like I'm like I don't know. And then I don't know scales really. I don't know. Like I count things weird. So I'm like, oh, you do that like 4 times, and then like inevitably they'll be like, no, that's like twice or 6, or I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. I just count 4, but sorry. So it can be. I can imagine how frustrating it must be as another musician.
I'm in the same boat because like I'm self-taught, and I like am also one of those musicians that writes everyone's parts. And then if you like back when Fairfax, Alaska was a thing, the rule was I come with the tune composed, try it on for size, but if you have better ideas, that's the part.
That's sort of how I roll. Yeah.
And there would be a lot of things where like the either like I would just sing people's parts, and they would be like, oh, so you're changing time signatures, and it's like,
okay,
sure.
Nice, cool.
Okay, or it's like it's like it would just get to the point where it'd just be like, I'm hearing this, and I feel the pain of like, oh, I must be so frustrating to work with, because like there would just be times where I'm just like, I don't know how to talk, and then like noises would, it's like this, and it's like people would be like,
yeah,
and I'm like, no, like bida bada buda ba, not bida buda bada ba, and they're like, like I don't, but I don't think it's necessary, because I think if music was taught as a language, the idea is all the players in the room don't even have to speak the same language. You could be able to figure the tune out. And there is like this weird gatekeepy way we teach music, and now it's even more gatekept in the era of like people get music business degrees. That was a good idea. I don't even know where my bachelor's degree is. Like but like I feel like there's like this weird gatekeeping where like, like if you want to teach like this is what this kind of chord sounds like and this is how you use it or can use it, sure, but like the way it's taught now is like there's a right way to use that and there's a wrong way, and you're doing the wrong way. Okay, well, what's the right way? My way. You're doing it wrong. Listen, it's just like, and I never quite could get my footing with that. Whoa, I got another one of these.
Everybody loves options, yeah? Which is why we've created so many ways to support KFAI. You can donate your vehicle, purchase merchandise, make an online donation.
I love our underwriting because we actually have fun with it, like other than like we can still have fun with it. It's less.
.org/donate.
My name is Gary. Not that there isn't something to be said for professionalism. I just think professionalism is relative. Like, you are allowed to have personalities. Like all of us are.
Yes.
All right, so we will be back after this message.
Okay.
And then we definitely won't have time for the whole playlist, but that's okay. We'll see what we can get to.
Okay.
They don't believe that. And then the only thing, like, it's you can be kind of murky with the handoffs.
For COVID-19,
but Democracy Now! Is after this, so I gotta end on time. So you just heard Amy Mann, Charmer, Soul Coughing, Super Bon Bon, Liz Fair at the top of that set. If you're just tuning in, this is Desert Islands, the show where I make mixtapes for my guests based on the 10 records they bring to a desert island. Today's mixtape is for Bev, and we're talking with Nikki right now. So Crusher is coming out soon. You have videos. Hopefully a vinyl is coming out. And performances are just going to come when they come.
Yeah, there's something brewing for August that isn't set in stone yet, but there's something in the works.
Right, yeah.
But we'll see. Let's see what happens.
I always see this is like I'm always like tempted to be like, ooh, let's talk about that. But then I remember like in my own life, like there's like this weird thing where it's just like, okay, the second you talk about something that's not set in stone, that's when it goes away. So I won't, but that is something we can potentially look forward to. But I'm sure there will be live performances from them and
someday.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I unfortunately some of the events I help curate and work on, or just fold my arms and just stand by the stage and make sure are already getting postponed or canceled again. So yeah, it is frustrating, but I also feel like there is starting to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think things are just going to be changing either way, because it's like what's going to happen when it gets cold? Like the outdoor shows are nice, but are we still going to have to do the thing where it's like we're going to be not full capacity? We don't know. But in the meantime, we can listen to the music. So you are involved with a lot of great players on this record, and you were also saying so off mic, correct me if I'm wrong, are you working on a side project or is this just like, nah, that's just for fun when it's not actually going to be released?
Started out as just for fun, and now we're starting to think like, well, this is actually turning out kind of cool. So we don't really know what's going to happen with it at this point, but yeah, it's definitely something I'm kind of excited about. I could really share. We have an Instagram page at this point.
So it has a band name.
Yes, it does. It's called Animal.
Oh, nice. Okay. So is this
way different from what I normally do.
Way different. Different. Is there anything listeners can check out while they're waiting for Crusher, or is that more of like just
No, so we have an Instagram page, Animal Band, and you can go there, and we've been posting some practice space stuff, but nothing that professionally recorded or anything like that. It's just been us working things out, but yeah, that's there.
Well, I feel like in the age of live streaming, I think people just want to see what people are up to.
Yeah,
and that's another thing. Do you think you will be using live streaming at all, or are you just going to wait until?
I haven't done it yet. I don't really have a good space for it. For one, I live in an apartment on a very noisy street, and so sound wise, it's not really a good place for it. And even like a practice space, you've got all the other band. I don't really have a good place to do it. So I haven't, and I don't know if I will.
It's complicated, and I feel like it won't completely go away. But I've also been. Well, I mean, if you listen to this show, you've definitely heard my opinions on live streaming. It's not that I don't like it. It's just like I don't like doing it.
It kind of just feels a little awkward, you don't know if you're just, I don't know, it feels a little awkward, and
it is cool for some things.
I've watched them and I've enjoyed them, but I haven't.
I really like it when I'm not gonna do
it. It feels weird for me.
That's how I felt. Like it's like I'll watch yours, I'll tune into yours. I don't know if I'm gonna do I've done a few, but I mainly like it when other artists just kind of pop in to be like, hey, new songs, this is what you get, we're working on it, and then I think it'll continue in that direction. Okay, so we have about 15 minutes to the top of the hour here, and I want to get into as much of this mixtape as possible. We've got some Nico Case, Lucinda Williams, and some Soccer Mommy coming up. And by the way, if we don't get to the whole mixtape, you can check out our playlist online, but I will also be posting the Spotify link to this mixtape underneath this video on Facebook, and you can check that out later and sign up. But I don't even know what that means. Just click subscribe, download it if you want, but it will be there. Here's some Nico Case. here on KFAI. I definitely go into a time warp sometimes where it's just like, oh yeah, we have plenty of time, and then I look up and I'm like, we really
this
don't.
one, yes.
So sometimes sometimes it's like I do that thing where like we go on such a tangent that we like forget to actually talk about the thing we were supposed to talk about. But at least in this case, I think we have. We will probably only have time for one more talk break. So that'll probably, the next time we're on air, we'll just do like a basic summary of like the who, the where, the what, when the record is coming out again, and just because people like hanging out with this, but radio is still very much a medium where like people tune in on like every 15, and I forget that. So it's like this like weird hybrid podcast. So like I try to say the same stuff when we're on the air as much as possible because there's power in repetition. There really is. But also that's, you know, more people are listening to the radio bit than the 2-hour-long conversation where it's just like, oh, it's timestamped. Just go to 2343 and they talk about the release date. Like, I wouldn't do that, so I wouldn't ask my listeners to do that. So yeah, I like repeating stuff. But yeah, after this 3-song set, maybe. No, we will. We'll have time for. Oh, geez. I'm going to have to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs. Okay. All right. All right. Well, we'll finish this set, and I'll just make do. Unfortunately, we're not going to have time for Angel Olsen or Tiffany.
No, Tiffany.
And I had... Well, I wanted to do I Think We're Alone Now, just because like it's like the perfect quarantine song. But it also had Jenny Lewis and Waxahachie, which I thought like fit in there too. But I don't know. It's like I try to like I don't know. It's weird because it's not like a podcast where it's just like once it's over, I have to like end it. You know, like where I feel like you watch other people's podcasts and it's just like sometimes they'll just go for 3 hours.
Yeah, like after the show. Like,
it's like and I wish we could do that. It's why I've been like trying to mute the music in the studio because like Facebook has been all right. I'm tired of hiding it. Facebook sucks. I hate Facebook. I only use it because of work and. Every week is a new thing on why they're annoying. And when we first started doing this, they started pulling our videos because we would play music on them.
Yep.
And it's just like we have licenses for the music. Like we're paying for this music and you're still flagging us. You're still giving us a copyright claim and it's just like oh, you got to pay BMI. It's like we do. We're a radio station. Leave us alone. Like it's just I don't know. Like the big tech is getting under my skin because they're so obviously lazy. And like whenever people complain about them, like they get on their high horse and they're just like, well, you couldn't possibly understand. I'm like, no, we do understand. You algorithmically did everything. Everything is monitored by AI. And you're so lazy that like you just have a if this, then this. And those things just get triggered all the time. And people are getting demonetized and pulled and all like, even though we already jumped through all your hoops, we said we had to do, and you still flag it because your system sucks. It's broken. And anytime someone says that, it's like, well, you don't actually understand what's going on. It's like, no, we do.
I do.
You're grifting us. You're making tons of money, and you have no need to change it because you're the only game in town. But don't act like we're too stupid to understand it.
Right.
And yeah, I used to try to be coy about like, don't say it, but at this point, no. Facebook sucks. It's terrible. It's ruining the world, and it's like really only good for 3 things. And one of those things is this, and they're not even doing it right anymore.
Right.
Like they're not letting people create content, and I don't know. Especially
I
like
use
this
it,
kind of thing.
I use it as like my events calendar, like, you know, when
Pretty
people
much.
would share things and,
Yeah.
you know, oh, what's going on this weekend, you know, that sort of thing. And then I
Like
use the Messenger occasionally. And then I have like my band page, but I had to keep reminding myself to share stuff there because I know nobody sees it anyway. It just like, Facebook won't promote it, won't lift it. You know, it just gets, unless you pay for it, unless you make it an ad.
Yes. No, that's exactly it. The second you start getting a following and a lot of people start liking your content, they introduce this whole thing where it's just like, hey, do you want to buy an ad? And I'm like, no. And then they do this weird thing where it's just like, hey, that's a nice little following you built up there. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's really hard to do. Like, it's pretty impressive how many followers you have. Like, hey, thanks. Yeah, it'd be a shame if something happened to that. What do you mean? Do you want to buy an ad? No, I don't. And then like you post something and it's like stuff that would normally get 100 likes,
people,
like 12. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a deliberate thing, like that. Like they like to think it's like, no, they like to want you to think that it's like, no, it's all random. Like it's just like, no, it's curated. They curate it. They are curating the algorithm, and they're doing it badly. And they're doing it for their own personal tastes of either what they think should get more volume or what will make them more money. And yeah, like you said, I deleted the Facebook app off my phone. I am working on Instagram and Twitter and just treating it like a PO box where it's just like, yeah, I'll log in when I'm by a computer and like my email and I'll check it. And if there's anything cool, but like at this point, yeah, it's an events calendar. And that's all it's good for, because all the things it used to be good for like have mutated into this like emotion machine. Like they're just like harvesting your energy and just like, and I sound like a crazy person, but like watch the documentaries about it. Like there are ex-Facebook employees where it's just like, oh yeah, like we designed our platform to elicit emotional response. Like if people click on stuff when they're happy, they feed them happy stuff. Yeah. If people click on stuff when they're angry, they just feed your thread with just stuff that's going to make you angry. And if you click on stuff that makes you sad, where it's like, oh, like people are starving or like the poor animals, like they just feed you stuff that makes you depressed. And with no like forethought of like what that's going to do. Like they're just like, oh, it's the money machine. It's gonna print. It's just like, you guys are like, and the arrogance to just be like, well, we know what we're doing. You don't understand how this works. Like this is actually like, it's just like, don't gaslight me. Like your product got away from you, and you're scared of it. That's what's happening. But you're too afraid to rein it in, because you feel like it's going to kill your market share. That's the reality. But they will never admit that. They will never admit that until this goes way too far and the whole thing is just going to become like a snake that eats its own tail. And it already is. And it's going to collapse hard. It's going to collapse hard. But the fact that they're being so stubborn about like, well, you need to do it this way, is just like, all right, I will use it because, like you said, there's no other way to stay in touch on events. Like you can like sign up for people's newsletters, but like I did that. My friend like started a label, moved to Europe. Now I noticed all of his emails end up in my spam filter. And like I remember him sending a message just like, hey, what's up? Like, are we still cool? And I'm just like, yeah. It's like, well, I've been sending you stuff. And I'm just like, oh, you got to send it to this email. It's like, yeah, that's the one. And like, I checked, it's like for a solid year. Oh, God. All spam. Yeah. And I'm just like, so it's like, even that is imperfect. And at this point, I know people have stopped sending stuff to the email and then they just invite me to stuff on Facebook because it's an easier way to keep all the events square. And I don't know. It's not that people haven't figured out a better way. It's these companies are actively preventing the better way from coming to fruition. And that's where it's just like, all right, I'm so glad we have a free market here. Since y'all love saying the words free market so much, I'm so glad it's actually free and not completely bought and sold and monitored by people who don't like anything. And yeah, I don't know. I used to be a little bit more like diplomatic about like saying stuff about companies, but at this point it's just like no. It's
like I hate how much I'm on Twitter. I hate it, but I'm like
I do too.
I will say I'm completely addicted to it, admittedly.
I am. That's why I haven't left.
Yeah.
But it literally is the worst. And like I know, because like where we started at the top of the show is like I've been going on a lot of walks, been trying to walk as much as possible, just because. Well, one, like I noticed I like got really out of shape during the pandemic, and I'm in my 30s now, and it's different from like, oh, I'm out of shape. It's just like, oh, I should watch my blood pressure. Oh, I should. There are like actual things like I need to worry about. And I've noticed on the days where like I walk 5 miles, play guitar, do work, and not look at screens, way happier than the days where I'm just like, I got nothing to do. Oh, I'm going to look at social media. And you think you're having fun. Where it's like, oh, funny comment, meh. Or like, oh, that like they're doing a thing. I'm going to like it. Like, I feel like at this point, I only keep Facebook because it's my job. And then to like other people's posts to give them visibility. Other than that, I'm not having a good time. I'm not having a good time on Twitter. I don't think anyone is. And this is not like, oh, like yelling at the cloud. Like something is going to replace this stuff. It's just annoying that they're actively preventing it from it getting better. And they're acting like we don't see it. When we do, it's just, what are we going to do about it? Like, and that goes with like institutional reforms across the board. Like whenever people share information where it's just like, did you know this, and is inefficient and we should change it? It's like, here's the thing. Yes, the powers that be do know that. They just don't care.
Well, like, and the thing is it's just so weird that we've gotten to the point where it's just become this thing that we have to have too. Like we didn't need it. We didn't have, there was a time we didn't have it and it was fine. And like there was a book about I can't remember the author, but you know, about quitting smoking and how you're supposed to look at it like you don't need it. You went a long time before you needed it. You think you need, but you don't, like you know, it's not something your body needs. And so like, why do we need Twitter?
I don't know. Okay, stand by. We're gonna do the thing here. All right, we're just gonna talk over the talking heads. Soccer Mommy. Soccer Mommy, new track from Soccer Mommy. Well, new-ish. You know what I mean. Lucinda Williams and Nico Case. This is the Talking Heads. We did not have time to finish the mixtape today, but we will post it at the bottom of this Facebook video. If you're doing that, be sure to check our playlist. This was the mixtape for Bev. Nikki, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great. Yeah, it was great to catch up and talk again. So if listeners like what they heard, where can they hear it again?
I have head to my website, bevmusic.com. The album Crusher, the new album comes out May 21st. You can pre-order it there and you'll get like a couple tracks right away. And then the rest of it on May 21st. And bevmusic.com.
Perfect. Perfect. Crusher is out May 21st. You can listen to some songs on Bandcamp. Next week I have Michael Gay. Nikki, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's fun.
Absolutely. Stay tuned for Democracy Now! I gotta fade out the talking heads.
Fresh Air Community Radio is KFAI 90.3 FM HD, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Okay, hold on.
Online and archived at kfai.org. Radio without boundaries.
No. Oh, there we go. We have one of those ancient computer mice that like it still has the ball, so sometimes like you'll move it and it will like move on the screen. I'm like, I have to get this thing. It's like program's nationally syndicated. It's just a thing you just gotta put
Yeah,
in.
yeah, I do it. Yeah.
Okay, now that Amy Goodman is on, I have to sign off.
Okay.
It was great to talk to you. Good to see you. Hopefully, I'll run into you in a safe manner.
I'm sure we will.
And the record sounds great. So thanks for coming on the show.
Bye.
All right, have a good one.